at Churchgate and downtown and elsewhere, and writing reports. Very often there is no thanks or recognition for the individual doing the job, and their return lies in their love of their particular sport. We also pay tribute to those who have faced triumph and tribulation, who have looked life and death in the eye, and who by their example have been a source of inspiration to us. We salute them.
Patsy Doherty won an award for his contribution to GAA. His citation was read by Donald Harton.
Patsy has been involved going back over 60 years. As a player, starting off with Ballyallen and then with Dromard Rathkeale. As an administrator and as a great club worker. He has been an inspiration to many people associated with the Rathkeale Club, both in good days and bad. In recent years, he has had a huge involvement in fundraising and also as a groundsman at the field. He has been a tireless canvasser for the Gaelic Grounds Development Draw. This draw raises money in commission for his local club. It is estimated that he has raised personally £6,000 every year for the last 5 years. Patsy sums up the great club worker, a lifelong involvement, a tireless worker. Those of us who are close to these awards refer to them as the awards for the unsung hero. But tonight, Patsy, you're not unsung, you're unsung, and I ask you to step forward for a most deserved award.
Eddie McCarthy read this citation for Bridget Kelly's contribution to the world of community games.
I first became involved, Jerry, with Kilcorn in my own area in 1983, just after I moved there. And I became involved at county level in 1990 when I became Assistant Secretary. I'm in the position of County PRO since 1993. And I'm also on the National Games Committee since 1992 and Munster PRO this year. Also, I was Munster PRO or Munster Secretary in 1995.
Needless to mention, that involves a tremendous amount of work.
Yes, it involves certainly work on a weekly basis and during busy periods on a daily basis where reports have to be compiled for the papers every week and for radio, do a spot on radio too, right through the busy period. So I have to attend as many events as possible with regard to the PRO so that I can give a full report and inform the papers well in advance as to what is coming up and when they're needed.
Jack Lynch was presented with an award for his contribution to golf. His citation read by Jim Upton.
For the past 15 years, Jack has served as a member of the Munster branch of the GUI, as well as being a member of the GUI's Central Council. He has held several key positions in the Munster branch, including competition and rules. Many established golfers have bowed to Jack's superior knowledge of the rules in his role of match referee. From 1985 to 1987, Jack captained the Irish youth golf team, which included a number of famous golfers such as Darren Clark, Paul McGinley, Owen O'Connell and Jim Carville, all of whom are now in the professional ranks. He has also been a selector for the Irish senior team for the past 4 years. Jack's great contribution to Limerick, Munster and Irish golf was recognised in 1996 when he was elected as chairman of the Munster branch. This honour will culminate in the year 2002 when Jack will become president of the Golfing Union of Ireland. For service to the sport of golf and particularly in Limerick Golf Club, Jack Lynch is being awarded the 1996 Sports Service Award.
For his contribution to soccer, Joe Sullivan won an award. His citation read by Sean O'Donovan.
Joe gave up the game at a young age, but he wasn't happy to go up elsewhere. He stayed with Geraldine, serving as a committee man and doing tremendous work behind the scenes. Geraldines were formed in the St. John's area, down around the Garryowen area there, where it's vital to have some good administrators for the sport. but we're serving a big area there. Joe took the schoolboys in hand and done great work with them. He left a great impression on them. He led by example, and to this day I have great respect for them down to the years, where he has moulded them into young men now at the moment, and to go out into the community to serve their city. So Joe was responsible for all that. Joe went on to become a secretary, treasurer, chairman, you name it. Joe held every position with the club. But not being content with that, he also ran numerous teams within the club, which, as the other speakers said here tonight, entails a lot of work, especially for field sports.
Phil Roche won an award for community games. Her citation read by Michael Marna.
Phil is a very experienced coach in athletics, and her coaching skills are very much in evidence in places like the Crescent Comprehensive, out in Cratloe, or maybe up in Bartbury Fields, and that happens anything up to 5 evenings a week, especially when they're preparing for All-Ireland or for county championships. Phil also has a major input in the organising of managers for the different events that are run by community games, such as the basketball, the hockey, step dancing, GAA, you name it. There are several events, and quite a number of them run by the regional community games. Cross country is Phil's favourite, and it is in that field she has excelled as a coach. Last year she managed 5 cross-country teams which represented Limerick at the National All-Ireland Finals in Mossie, which brought home, I think it's 3 medals, gold, silver and bronze, and this was certainly due to Phil's chosen work behind the scenes.
Hugh Ryan was presented with the next award for his contribution to boxing. His citation read by Michael Egan.
Hughie is a man of few words. He shuns the limelight, but his actions speak legions for the man. What is listed here is only a small amount of what this man does. He, for 30 years, has been involved with St. Munchin's Boxing Club, initially as a competitor, then as a coach and a trainer and a referee, and he's involved in the administration of the sport. He is indeed the backbone of his club. Hughie is affectionately known and within boxing in the area for his judging, his refereeing, and his unstinting ability at all times to help, even at his own inconvenience, and will never refuse anybody. He at present coaches at least 3 nights per week, 2 hours per night. As soon as championships approach, that would go to 5 nights per week. Rose is here tonight, and I'm sure she only sees him rarely, right? And so therefore a lot of the backroom work has to go to her as well. As a judge and a referee, he referees not alone at local level, but at provincial level and at national level. And the 4 words that are always uttered on everybody's lips to do with Hughie are honesty, dedication, sportsmanship and pride.
And the winner of the next award was Mossie Woulfe for his contribution to the world of athletics. His citation was read by Paddy O'Connor.
Well, since I got involved in athletics in 1984, when quite by accident, because I never intended to get involved in athletics, and there was a meeting convened in Rathkeil, and the late Christy Cullinane and Sonny Cotter attended, and they couldn't agree on a secretary, so my wife Mary was there, and she arrived home with the minutes book, and she says, "Here you are, you're secretary of the athletic club." That's how I got involved. And in 1986, I'm jumping the gun a bit, I got involved at county board level when I was elected chairman when Sonny Cotter retired. And in those years I've been blessed with many very, very good officers, and even to this present day, including your good self, who is also a member of the county board, and in 1995, I was elected chairman of Munster, and I hold that position up to now. Maybe they will decide to get rid of me in 1997, hopefully.
And next, for his contribution to rugby, the award winner was Sean Fielding, his citation read by Frank Lynch.
While a student at Sexton Street CPS, Sean won his first major rugby trophy as full-back on the school's Bowen Cup winning team in 1937. During the war years, he served as a district administrator with the army at Kilmallock. During this time, he played Gaelic football on Saturday mornings and rugby on the same afternoon. As the beloved ban was in force at the time, this involved the use of an assumed name. I haven't been given that name, but I'm sure Sean can remember it. He scored a last-minute winning goal to enable Kilmallock to beat Herbertstown in the South Limerick Junior Football Final during this period, and apparently didn't have to put his hand in his pocket to buy a drink for 12 months afterwards. And there are conflicting reports on his sobriety during that year. Sean later moved to Shannon Airport and played soccer with the airport team. He also developed a love of aviation that has lasted to this day. Indeed, I'm told that he was regarded as a frustrated armchair pilot. Sean has had an interesting medical history, having undergone no fewer than 27 operations. He is known to many for his well-written rugby articles, which highlight Bohemians' many moral victories, and for his poetry, which include the appeal to bury me in Thomond Park. Sean, from my brief recollection of playing thirds and juniors with those in the mid-60s, we were regularly buried in Thomond Park.
Maurice McCarthy received the next award for his contribution to soccer. His citation was read by Mary Costello.
Pike Rovers is a tradition in the McCarthy family, and Maurice began playing for the club at the age of 13. When his playing days finished, he continued on as a loyal and dedicated supporter of the club, holding positions of chairman, secretary, treasurer, team secretary, etc., to name but a few. One of his first duties was to act as assistant to his father, who was the team secretary, and this entailed looking after the football gear for the club, which was laundered by his mother. In those days, clubs didn't have the luxury of either public or private transport, and gear had to be transported to matches by hand in sacks, and yet the teams in Pike Rovers always turned out in pristine condition. Eventually, Maurice took over the team secretary position from his father and went on to demonstrate his real forte for administration. Even during a period when he was working outside of Limerick, he still travelled back each week to attend the duties in the club. He is currently secretary of the club and is still the team secretary. On top of this, Maurice is one of the first to volunteer for the jobs that everybody else tries to avoid, such as selling lotto tickets, manning the door at club functions, using his car as a club taxi, or helping out the fields committee, or any job that needs to be done.
In addition to the other awards, there are also two special Chairman's Awards.
The first recipient is John Fulham, 25-year-old Limerick man, currently resident and working in Dublin for the AIB. He's a member of the IWA Sports Club, Clonliffe Harriers and the Sporting Club. He came into sport mainly through the influence of Martin Rainsford, Sean O'Grady here, and Harry Pearce. He first represented Ireland at the age of 18 and holds records for the 100 metres, 400 metres, 800 metres and 1500 metres. He competed in the Barcelona Paralympics in 1992 in the 100 metres, 200 metres, 400 metres and 800 metres. He represented Ireland again in 1996 in the Atlanta Paralympics, where he competed in the 100 metres, 200 metres and 800 metres, finishing 5th in the final of the 100 metres. He has proven himself and this on the soundest authority, to be one of the most dedicated athletes to represent Ireland at the Games. As was mentioned to me during the course of the week, there are those who fight to get there, and when they are there, they are satisfied they have arrived. That wasn't and isn't the case with John. He fought his way onto the team, got there, and for him, being there was only the beginning. His dedication to the sport is renowned, and his commitment to training is second to none. He took part in this year's Dublin City Marathon and came in first. He is currently training for the 1998 World Championships, which will be held in Germany or South Africa. And thereafter, he hopes to represent Ireland again in the Olympics in Sydney in the year 2000. For his commitment to sport, for his dedication, for achieving at the highest level, and for his courage in overcoming many adversities, John is an inspiration to all athletes and is a worthy recipient of the 1996 Chairman's Award. John Fulham.
Pat Lawless received the second Chairman's Award for his solo circumnavigation of the world.
Well, I'm sailing since I was 16, and I crossed the Atlantic in '86 to America. And I thought that would make me happy, but it was a bug, and I'm doing it since. I love it.
Minister, what do you think of that feat?
I think it's absolutely fantastic that I'm standing here beside a living legend. I'm from Fines myself.
Well, thank you very much. Because I've been called a lunatic, yeah.
Well, I was reared on conversations about Conor O'Brien from Fines Island, who circumnavigated the world out of the estuary, and you know, we look at the gravestone down in Fines at Mount Trenchard when we were kids, and we say, you know, what a fantastic feat. And here we are tonight, standing beside Pat Lawless, who has done an enormous feat also, a great feat of gallantry, great courage, to head off on your own and go around the world and pit yourself against the elements as people did way back in the past before modern technology was in place.
Well, I didn't do this to set any records or for fame or fortune, but I just did it because I love it, and I'm very happy to be here tonight to be honoured by you and your committee and the Minister and all concerned, yeah.
Pat Lawless has done all this in a small boat, on a shoestring budget, with the minimum of fanfare, and at the age of 70. A truly remarkable feat for a truly remarkable Limerick man. Cógádagas Pat, ní bheidh de léhéad rís ann.
ACC Bank is delighted to be associated with these awards. Every year I come down here, actually, I admire the enthusiasm, the way this sports award is organised, actually. And it's different to other sports awards, because in other sports awards, it's usually the people who have achieved a lot in the sports field. But down here in Limerick, it's the people who achieve a lot behind the scenes. That is different, and that's what makes this sports service award in Limerick such a different sports service than anything else that's actually available in the country.
You wouldn't be a stranger to sport yourself in Limerick?
Not at all, actually. You know, I'm as comfortable in Lansdowne Road as I am actually in Croke Park, and I admire the Shannons and the Gary Owens and the Bohemians, actually. Indeed, on the staff of ACC Bank in Limerick, we have some keen Bohemian sports followers, actually.
There are many national awards with which we're familiar where the stars, those who participate, are honoured. But what we're honouring tonight are the people behind the scenes who indeed are the real stars, who put the voluntary effort into all the sporting codes, whether it's boxing or rugby or soccer or GAA, and even the wheelchair sports are represented here tonight. But it's principally the non-participants, but the people without whose voluntary help and assistance we wouldn't have the great contribution that the organisations make to sport in Ireland. And indeed, if I may have my own little advertisement, the great contribution that they make to the health of the nation.
And so congratulations to all this year's awards winners.